Hello again, friends. It's Kenzie, and today I'll be reading more paranormal true stories from Reddit. I have a few stories today. Our first story comes from user u/ok-cookie4128. It's titled, "Did I Just See What I Thought I Saw?" I've been debating whether or not to post this here, but I wanted to share something bizarre I just saw with my own eyes. And if anyone can debunk it, go right ahead. I live on the third floor apartment of a big old home. I was looking out on my back porch, overlooking the little parking lot for residents, when I legitimately saw a mass of black shadow, I don't know how else to describe it, very quickly shift across the parking lot. I know this sounds bizarre, but that's why I'm posting it here, because I'm not sure where else to go and where I might be able to get some legitimate response. Shortly before I saw the black mass, I saw a dark, blurry figure of sorts in front of the driver's side door of a silver car in the parking lot. I figured it was a person, although it didn't look like one. A few minutes later, I'm looking out on the phone, and I see, in stark contrast to the silver car in its background, this black, tall figure/mass just sort of run forward very quickly. It was too large and too tall to be an animal, and if it were a larger animal, I would have seen it scurry away into the woods. But no. After the shift happened, it was just gone. I have seen something like this once before, although I figured it was a trick of the eyes. I'm a believer in the paranormal to a degree, but a skeptic too. So, what did I see? And this next story comes from user u/lemoncarton. It's called, "There's an Actual Haunted House on My College Campus." Me and my friend, I'm going to refer to them as Orion, are undergraduate students at a small college in the Pacific Northwest. Late-night strolls aren't out of character for us, and it's common for undergrads to walk to the graduate campus at night for parties, drugs, and what have you. It is also socially accepted by students, faculty, and alumni that there's an urban legend, a building on grad campus being haunted. That building is called Corbett House. The area isn't foreign to us. There is a clothing and item exchange in Corbett House every Friday, which Orion frequents. We all had known about old ghost stories, but hadn't had a paranormal experience with it until tonight. Orion and I walked there, reached the halfway mark of the roundabout, and a sound we only thought existed in a horror movie randomly split the air. It was a rainy night, but we heard everything clearly. The noise was a very loud, resonant hum. It was coming from the right side of the house, but it fully encompassed us. I tried opening the main door, then knocked twice, and we started walking away. I also proceeded to make some crass remarks about ghosts. I have an affinity to make jokes at unfortunate times. Once we reached the no parking sign painted in the road, the noise stopped completely. I decided to turn around and head back to the door from the way we came. Orion followed. No new sounds from the building, but another light to the right side of the door, the same side where we had heard the noise, had mysteriously turned off. No one should be in the building. It was almost midnight, and grad campus is socially dead at 7 p.m. It was around 11:50 p.m. After that, we decided to head back. I heard 2 clear, short, and shallow exhales, no inhales, in my right ear. The voice sounded masculine in nature. I checked behind me for Orion, and they were about 2 feet away from me. The exhales were not pulled from deep enough in the lung to be heard from that distance. They said they had felt chills through their entire body, as if an energy had passed through them. Orion heard extra footsteps behind us several times on the walk back to campus via the main road. I was walking ahead of them. The footsteps weren't wet, despite the fact that it was pouring outside and had been for several hours. That's the PNW, I guess. But the ghost steps didn't get the memo, I guess? So there's no way of explaining that. After we had returned to the basement of our resident hall, we heard further sinister noises, including loud bangs and creaking of wooden floors, despite them only consisting of concrete and threadbare carpet. And the next story is from user u/m033118b. It's called, "I Think I Saw a Ghost at Galvez Hotel in Galveston." I still think about this one to this day. It was my junior year of high school, and my family and I went to the Galvez Hotel for spring break. We stayed in a room with 2 beds. We are a family of 5, So my brother and I shared a bed, while my little sister, who was 4 at the time, slept in the other bed with my parents. Everything was fine, but the last night we stayed there, I woke up in the middle of the night and I felt super squished in the bed. I turn over, and in the middle of my brother and me, I see a girl with dark hair facing the other way towards my brother. I thought it was my little sister. Sometimes during trips she would crawl into bed with us. I started poking her back to get her to move. "Melanie, go to the other bed." She said okay, and I started falling asleep again as she started to move. The next morning my brother asks, "Oh P, why were you poking my face in the middle of the night?" I was super confused and said, "Melanie crawled into bed with us and she was taking up all the space. You didn't notice?" Then my parents and Melanie said that she was sleeping in the same bed as my parents the whole night. At this point, I'm freaking out and we get into a whole argument about it, and my parents totally dismissed me and said I was dreaming. I know I definitely wasn't because she spoke back to me and moved before I fell asleep again. To this day, I still believe that my brother and I slept with a ghost. And we have another story from user u/LadyGrim88. It's called "Grandfather Passed Away Last Week, and I've seen him again, twice." So let's just start by saying I've had paranormal experiences in the past, but I've never lost a close relative. My grandfather has for the most of my life shared a house with my immediate family. Approximately 4 years ago, we moved directly next door to my grandfather into a house that he had bought for us. He was always around. My grandfather had some sort of brain degeneration and had not been able to speak or remember things for the past few years prior to his recent death. I saw him 3 hours before he died. He had been in the hospital for approximately 3 weeks and was happy to finally see me visit. As he lay in rough condition, I assumed death. I wanted him to communicate with a head nod or just respond to a question, so I asked, "Grandpa, will I see you tomorrow?" and even reworded it a few times. "Grandpa, I love you. Are you going to be here tomorrow?" He was so out of it and did not pay attention or respond. I left the hospital around 9:15, and he passed at approximately 3:45 a.m. He passed on October 13th. I was cleaning my room yesterday with a candle lit next to his photo. I had exited my room to get a broom, and as I was about to enter, I looked through my door frame and saw a figure move really quick. I was shook, but I just brushed it off and blamed it on my lack of sleep. Now, I just woke up to use the bathroom at around 4:45 a.m. As I exit the bathroom, lights are off in the house. I see a figure in the living room standing up and then moving real quick as if to sit on the couch. I'm scared. I don't know what I did, if I said something wrong or forgot to say something to my grandpa. I'm actually in bed crying right now because I don't know what I'm seeing and if it's good or bad. Again, I never lost anyone close to me, and I don't know if anyone else has experienced this. This story is from user u/Virmedius. This one's called, "Does This Sound Demonic?" A couple months ago, someone told me they had a mirror that was possessed. Since I was on one of those ghost shows on the Sci-Fi Network, she asked if I had any ideas how to get rid of it. I told her to just get rid of the mirror. That night at around 2:30 a.m., my smoke alarm upstairs went off, but just one of them, even though all alarms are connected. I turned it off and went back to sleep and didn't think anything of it. The next day when I arrived back at my house, a picture frame which was on a stable bookshelf was broken in half on the floor and glass was shattered everywhere. I thought it was strange, but again, didn't really think too much into it. Fast forward, 2 nights ago, I woke up in the middle of the night. In one of the corners of my room, there was black smoke, a little thicker than a fog, but the arms of the smoke were longer than regular smoke, almost like veins. It freaked me out. I sat up, cleared my eyes, and it was gone. I went back to sleep and did not tell my wife about it. Last night, she woke up screaming in the middle of the night, jumped out of bed, and was looking right above us, saying there was a foot-long dragonfly above us. I have to say, when I feel like I see something, I always try to justify it. But when someone else is sure they see something the day after I think I did, it turns from justifying to terrifying. Maybe it is all just a coincidence, but has anyone heard of anything like this? And that is all the stories I have for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!